Hey there guys, we're going to be going back to Clash of Wills to show how to get a rank 1 clear using extremely cheap gear for your tank. Now before we get into it, real quick, I'll mention for people that watched my Across the Obelisk video, I went ahead and uploaded the rest of that run, Acts 2, 3, and 4, but they're unlisted so I don't just spam videos of off-topic stuff to my Brave Xfish audience. If you want to see the rest of that run, go back to the original Obelisk video, and there's now links in the comments, pinned in the comments, that should bring you to the Act 2, 3, and 4 video if you want to see the rest of that run. But as far as Clash of Wills, let's get in here and do a rank 1 clear using extremely easy to build tank stuff. Now we are using Chow, and we are using good units, good gear, but the tank gear is as cheap as it gets, and I'll show you the gear at the end. You could also use timestamps to skip straight to the gearing section if that's all you care about. But let's get in here and do a clear for rank 1, and then I'll show the gear, talk about it, etc. There will be a turn chart in the comments as usual. So we're going to be re-raising some of the attacks to make it to where we can ignore resistance gear. So to start off, let's see here, some auto casting. Chow is going to start in the shift form for some auto cast gear. Go to the base form. We're not using Omni cover, so that's all we need. He'll just auto cover by shifting on this turn. So we're going to Most Loyal and True Guardian, and we're going to Encouraging Fire for two reasons. One thing, this is an accuracy down. We're all using accuracy. We're all using evasion in the party, but only up to 80%. This will give us immunity to the physical attacks with the 20 accuracy down plus our 80 or better from gear. It also gives him a 100 fire and 80 dark resist buff, so Encouraging Fire. Chizuru on this turn is just going to do Staunch, Strong, and Breezy Barrier. The Breezy is going to cure the Imperil off of Chow. Cleome is going to do Blood Red Performance. We're going to do Infarega. And we're going to do Protection. Prodigious Protection. Tsukiko is going to do Blessed Omamori, the Fire Field. And we're going to do Protection. Prayer of Protection. And then A2 can do triple offensive heal, and then 2B in the shift form can do her bolting strike skills. And we'll just chain these two up. Make sure you're doing offensive heal and not finisher combo, because that one fills morale gauge. Okay, so here's some AoE attacks. We evaded all the stuff on the team, and Chow double gutsed it. He is also provoking with double guts. Now, with the gear we're using, Chow, well, this is not really viable because we are actually using 150 buffs with Cleome right now, but without those buffs, we would still be immune on Chow on this turn. This turn is just some magic damage, but no Imperil. So what Chow is going to do to fill morale gauge, Most Loyal, and then just double True Guardian, because all of those fill the morale gauge. Cleome is going to use her LB this turn because we're not chaining anyone Extreme Nova, so we'll just do her LB all by herself. Let's go ahead and shift Tsukiko and do Quicksand to break and double Firestorm to unlock her Magnus. Chizuru can do Beast Killer, so Beast Pulverizer. And then we're going to triple offensive heal for the morale gauge and shift the LB 2B for the modifier buff. Okay, go ahead and do this. Now, make sure you chain these two together, because that's going to be a little bit of damage to make it easier to push the second phase. Okay, this turn is just a double magic attack, no Imperil, so Chow is immune. On the other hand, this turn, Chow is not going to be immune because he is not wearing enough resist gear. So he is immune to the dark. The dark will go first. The fire will come second and kill Chow. So we're going to re-raise Chow so he comes back after that fire attack. And then just to fill more morale gauge, Most Loyal, and True Guardian. A2 is going to once again triple offensive. Tsukiko to the base form, where we're going to triple Prayer of Purification to fill the morale gauge even further. Chizuru on this turn is going to Tyvus' Spirit, so we're bursting next turn. And then Cleome is going to triple Gallant And we're going to use 2B. There is going to be an AoE physical that we have to Mirage this turn. So 2B is going to do 1 bolting, a void for the Mirage for the party, and then support weapon, which is going to fill her LB gauge. So go ahead and chain these up to, again, deal a little bit more damage, like 5% or so. Okay, there we go. So now we're a lot closer, and also the morale gauge should be pretty high at this point, either maxed out or almost there, like you say. So here we go. So here's Chow. He's going to die and come back. We're wearing enough. We're only gearing for dark. We're ignoring fire resist. So there we go. Okay, now it is time to burst the boss. So we're going to go to the base form with Cleome and base form LB. Chizuru will shift at LB. We're going to base form LB 2B. We're going to Hateful Blade, our A2, and we're going to shift and do Blazing Karmic on our Tsukiko. Now, no one is chaining Bolting Strike during this. Oh, also, before we do that, put up the attack and magic buff. So what we're going to do, we're going to send 2B and A2 by themselves, because Extreme Nova activates before bolting. So we're going to send them to let the chain get built for a minute. Then we're going to chain the rest. We're going to chain Tsukiko and then Chizuru, Cleome together. And Tsukiko will weave into the rest of it. So there we go. Then send these. And that should be the first threshold, or the 50% threshold pushed. And there it is. Boom. If you're having problems pushing the first threshold, it might be an issue with variance. That's going to be the hardest part of the fight, is that threshold. If you're not pushing that threshold on turn 4, then try to deal more damage on turns 1, 2, and 3, or just hope for variance. The second burst is going to be a whole lot easier and massive overkill, but that one's a little tricky to do. Okay, so Chow is now going to do... remember, he re-raised, so we're going to put up... Tsukiko is probably going to die, though. So we're going to re-raise Tsukiko on this turn. Then we're going to do Encouraging Fire and Cover. Now, Tsukiko is almost certainly going to die, and Chizuru might die. If either of them die, it's totally fine. It doesn't matter at this point. So we did 2.7 there. Okay, here comes some AoE attacks. And... they survived. Okay, great. If they had died, it would not have mattered, but whatever. There it is. If they survive, even better. Who cares? Okay. Yeah, Chizuru has a lot of evasion, so she just evaded that naturally. The rest of the party has it as well. Anyway, so on my turn chart, it'll say to raise people that died if they did, but no one did. And that'll happen. Chow will always guts that turn, guaranteed. So now, Chow is going to True Guardian ×2, and then just Most Loyal. Again, do a raise if someone had died on that threshold. We can just do Gallant on her. We can use Triple Offensive just to fill the morale gauge. With you, we're not trying to chain this up or anything. We're just, doing our thing. Tsukiko didn't die, so she'll just, whatever. Purification 3 times. Who cares? I shouldn't have chained that. We don't actually want to push the boss, really. Let's go to the shift form with 2B, and we'll just Bolting Strike a few times just to fill the fill the morale gauge. Not so much to fill the gauge, but to max out that morale score. And then Chizuru can either use Devastating to fill her LB gauge guaranteed, or we can just guard or use something weaker. We're going to just guard, pretend like she had died that turn, which is fine. We actually don't want to push the boss to 50 again, because he'll just heal back up. So here is Chow. His Imperils got cured by both Tsukiko and the dying hole, the whole dying thing. So this turn is an AoE physical attack, so we're going to use Chizuru on Fenrir to summon Fenrir for AoE Mirage. We're going to just use Blessed Omamori, because the Esper gauge is gone, with Tsukiko to reapply that Imperil. We'll do a triple offensive with you. We'll do a triple bolting with you. Cleome on this turn is going to go to the shift form, actually. Where we're going... Whoops. I mean to do that. We're going to Infrarega as the first action, then Blood Red, and Slayers. Okay. I actually don't think we sealed the boss. I did that in the wrong order. I was supposed to do Cleome first. I don't think it's going to matter. I guess we'll find out, though. Let's go ahead and re-raise ourself. Whoops. Let's re-raise ourself on Chow. And then let's do Encouraging for resist buff. And then True Guardian. Okay, I'm not entirely sure what happens if you don't hit the boss with an element that turn. Because I didn't hit him with an element that turn. Big whoops. What does he do? Huh. I guess nothing. Interesting. Anyway, here comes Chow re-raising. There we go. Okay, so this turn we're going to be ejected. So we need to deal a little bit of damage to the boss just to be a little bit closer to 50 just for safety. So we're going to shift our Sukiko here. And she's going to do Quicksand and double Firestorm. We're going to use A2 to do her SLB. We're going to have 2B go to the base form. We'll use her in just a second. Let's have Chizuru do a Beast Killer. Let's have Cleome do her Shifted LB. Yeah, we want to deal a little bit of damage to the boss, but not too much. So there we go. And let's go ahead and gauge how far we are from 50. We're going to have to do a little bit more damage in the next phase. Let's triple R40. This should be fine. This shouldn't push anything. Alright, I shouldn't have done that, I don't think, but that was a little bit too close, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and cover True Guardian and Encouraging Fire. So now we're getting ejected. Now, ejected will cancel the auto-casting of Cleome, just FYI. This is going to kind of mess up her damage a little bit, but we're still going to be okay. Okay, it's also going to fill the morale gauge. Now, it was very critical that we went to the base form of 2B last turn. Very, very critical. Even if you don't attack the boss that turn, you have to go to the base form. So we can shift this turn, and by shifting on this turn, it'll activate Call of the Wild, which is critical for the way we're doing this. So now we're going to do the shifted LB of 2B, which thankfully didn't push a threshold. We're going to just do Yorha on A2. Sukiko will go to the base form that is evading. And we're going to do just a focus, either the Vision Card focus or Dark Range TMR. Or if you don't have either one, well, I guess neither. Tybus' Spirit on Chizuru. Cleome is going to double Gallant and Scarlet Sharp Note. Make sure you Scarlet Note as the last action. Okay. Oh, God. That is perfect at 51%. Play with it, so work the boss as close to 50 as you can without going over. If you're dealing too much damage, don't triple cast that R40 on 2B. Like, I could have done 2 R40s and a pod, which doesn't deal damage. Stuff like that. But get the boss as close to 50 as you can without going over. Now, this turn, we're going to use Chow. Oh, well, this turn, Chow is going to go ahead and do Most Loyal and double True Guardian to fill the morale gauge, although it's already filled. Okay. Because we shifted 2B on this turn, with the gear she's using in the shift form, watch her LB gauge, it'll fill up exactly 20 points, which is more than the cap of 12. There we go. So she's 40 LB gauge short. We are going to fix that with Chow. So here we go. Chow is immune to that because we're not in peril this turn. Now let's go ahead and use Chow to do Guardian's Holy Flame on 2B to fill 40 LB gauge. Boom. Guaranteed no RNG fill of 2B. Let's go ahead and do the attack and magic buff. And now let's kill the boss and deal our 2.5. So base form LB of 2B. Hateful Blade, that is now fully powered up. Shift form with Sukiko, where we're going to Blazing Karmic. It's been focused this time. Last time wasn't. Shifted LB of Chizuru and base form LB of Cleome. Now, Cleome is not fully powered because the eject canceled her auto-casting, but she's still got a 150 amplify, which is going to be fine. So once again, we're going to send 2B and A2, wait just a moment, then send the rest. So we're going to send these, wait just a moment, send the rest. That way we can weave in the Sukiko without missing any hits whatsoever. And there's a big hit, and there's the end of the boss. So there it is. So we should have dealt about 3 billion, depending on variance, of course. 3.5, yeah, we massively overkilled. You got to do about 2.8 to kill the boss from 50%. We did 3.5. So like I said, the second burst is very, very fine. We probably could have maybe even done it from 60% if the boss had accidentally healed. But we did it properly. So it's only that turn 4 burst that is a little tricky with this clear. There's the breakdown. Cleome is the only unit that had a 150 amplify. The rest of the party only had a 45 amplify. But even with only a 45 amp, 2B did a ton of damage. A2 and Chizuru did decently, and then Tsukiko a little bit low, but she was our breaker and fire field and all that kind of stuff. So there it is, and I will show you the gear. Now, the gear on Chao is so easy to build, so easy to build. So the complaint I had was I was gearing for like 465 to double resist, etc. So Chao is on Anima with both the resist nodes learned for plus 70 resist. Also, we're on Fenrir with Chizuru, so Chizuru can do the Mirage on turn 6. So that's the only espers that really matter. The rest of them, just put them however you want. Okay, so Chao, here's the gear we're using. We have 100 or better fire resist and 470 or better dark resist. That is all you need for resistance. We also need Chao to be at 80% or better evasion. So let me show you the gear we're using. So we're using Crimson Butterfly, which is a 5-star TMR, or STMR, and then the Dancer's Diadem for passive provoke. That's, it for the evasion gear. He's got 30 naturally. His own TMR, so that gives fire and dark resist. Double Angel Earrings, that's a 3-star TMR. Double Keeping Back the Dark, that's a 4-star TMR. And Diablo Synergy, that's a 5-star STMR. So you can UOC Zahn and Saul and get these 2 STMRs, and then the Always Watching Over Me card, both for the morale gain as well as for the resistance it gives. In shift form, we're starting the shift form, just some autofill, auto morale. So Empress Rod, Treasured Ring, and that's kind of it. And yeah, 2 empty slots. I'm using very low end TMRs. You can use things like the limited, Lilith STMR for Malefic Heart. You can use things like Mestina STMR, Kyrie's STMR, Roy's STMR, but you don't need to. Those are all limited gears that are, gone. The Faith Sworn Ring. All you need is 470 or better dark, 100 or better fire, and 80 or better evasion. And then he is totally self-sufficient because we're doing 20 accuracy down with encouraging fire, 100 fire resist to counteract the modifier, and then 80 dark resist. So 470 plus 80 is immunity even after the imperil. And the dark attack always happens first. So the dark attack goes off, and then Chao dies to the fire. But you do need at least 100 fire plus his buff, so 200 fire in total, so that he doesn't die on turns 2, 5, or 9. Because those turns, what's it called? He does take the attack, the magic attack, but he's not imperiled. So all he needs is 100 plus a buff of fire. Cleome, the rest of the party is also using evasion. So Cleome has 80 or better evasion, so that she can evade the physical stuff. Because we're not bulking up the physical. We're not using mitigations. We're just evading all of it or miraging it. So LB damage versus the stuff. Some evasion materials to get to 80%, and there we go. Her own card for the morale fill. Shift form, identical. And she's maxed on everything. Maxed LB, maxed Demon, maxed Beast, and 80 or better evasion. Chizuru in the base form is using a dual wield build and ancient power for the morale gain. This might not be required if you have, if you don't have Wilk's card. Give her just a regular old card, and then just you'll have a little bit less morale in the first phase. You'll still max out by the second phase. It might make phase 1 a little bit harder, but I'm not entirely sure. Other than that, I gave her some counter, and I gave her both the new Priest, Vengeance, Priest things, because they give counter attack to morale gain. So, I recommend you buy these. I actually should have bought the other one as well, but I didn't. So counter build, Tyvis' Spirit. She has 80 evade naturally, but I gave her more just because why not, and she's dual wielding on a card. And there we go. Shift form Shift form only has 50% evasion. So 50 evade plus the 20 accuracy down, meaning she had a 30% chance to get hit on turn 4 when we bursted. So she might have died. If she had died, it would have been fine. Just raise her the next turn. She won't die before the threshold, the burst, and then she'll be fine for the next threshold. So here's the build, maxed on everything. Maxed LB, maxed Demon, maxed Beast. 2B also has, actually 2B only had 70 evasion. So 70 evade plus 90, plus 20 is only 90 evasion. So she had a 10% chance to get hit. If she had gotten hit and died, she would have died. So just raise her on the next turn. It would have been fine. So there we go, and there's the build. Now this is very critical. In the shift form, we don't want her to die in the shift form. So the shift form had 95 evasion. Because while setting up, we can't have her dying. So shift form has 12 LB per turn and Call of the Wild. So Call of the Wild and 12 LB per turn. We're getting that from her own STMR, High Class Dagger, and Call of the Wild. This is critical because this gives a guaranteed 8 LB over the cap, and that's how we got her guaranteed LB on turn 10. 12 per turn, 8 from Call of the Wild, and 40 from Chow's cooldown, which filled her to the maximum. Shift form, base form is damage and maxed on everything. A2 is, A2 only had 75 evasion. 75 plus 20 from Chow's accuracy down is 95 evasion. So every single turn, there was only matters on turns 1, 4, and 9. So turns 1, 4, and 9, she had a 5% chance to be in hit. If she had gotten hit, she probably would have maybe either survived or gutsed or whatever. But it's only a 5% chance, so we risked it. We're getting that from the colorful leg. I think she has 50 naturally. So here's the build we're using, maxed on everything. And there we go. And then Tsukiko in the base form, full evasion, wearing Obsidian Bracer. Someone's got to wear the Obsidian Bracer because we don't break on turn 1. And like I said, there's a 5% chance like A2 had gotten hit on turn 1, and she probably would have survived if the boss was broken, so just Obsidian Bracer. Other than that, full evasion, who cares? And we're getting focus from this. If you don't have this vision card, give her Dark Range TMR instead, and you'll get a slightly smaller focus on turn 9. We overkilled by a lot, so it would have been fine. And she was actually low damage anyway. Shift form is just damage versus, Esper's evocation. And there it is. There is the super easy to build tank clear of Hei'er, whatever. Okay, hope it helps. See you in a bit.